Hi there. No matter the performance of your Fuji cameras, no matter the features, the price or generation of its sensors, you all have a special place for our Fujis. And there is one thing about all the Fuji bodies right now that make them so distinct from the Nikons, Canons, and Sonys of the world. And I'll tell you what it is. When we try to explain it to ourselves right now, we identify a few reasons as why we love a Fuji so much. The top reason being the design, the film camera styled buttons, dials, and the experience of analog styling in a fairly high tech camera body. And that's what always sort of stands out. Then there is the ability of a Fujifilm camera to simulate the film looks. The fact that you can manipulate the colors and the looks so easily in a Fuji is just a delightful thing, and that's you don't get to do that with other cameras. But behind all this, there is one thing that allow all Fuji bodies to become so different, to give you this experience that you're talking about. Just stay here with me, and I'll come back to the point. I'll talk about it. You see that in the last 2 years, all the three top brands, Nikon, Canon, and Sony, or rather Canon, Sony, and Nikon, they have done really well. The full frame cameras, what they've produced in the last couple of years, they're just incredible. The level of innovation they have brought in, especially for fast action photography and high resolution filmmaking, was just unimaginable even a few months back. But now there are three 8K cameras. They all shoot, well, almost all of them shoot at 30 frames per second. All three have incredibly good long lenses, and they're planning to launch more of those. So wildlife, birding, sports, and action are practically owned by the big three. But it seems like Fuji wants to join that club. They want a little bit of that pie as well. And that makes sense because being crop sensor cameras, they'll be able to offer us that extra reach, with longer lenses but lighter lenses. We have seen Fuji release new versions of their lenses already. The focus right now is on perfecting the lenses in terms of resolution and speed of focus. Both are important because they're looking at high resolution sensors. We have all heard Fuji talk about the new stacked sensors, more powerful processors, and much higher resolution cameras. In fact, we're hearing a lot about the XH2 and in the next few months. So broadly speaking, Fuji is trying to catch up with the full frame cameras. They're looking at the strength of the big three and saying, hey, we can do all of that too, and we will do that. Perhaps we will see the merit of Fuji thinking that way and throwing that challenge in time. But right now though, like we said, right now there are a few reasons why Fuji exists, and that's not for fast action photography. There's a reason why Fuji have become so successful, and the very small niche 5% of that entire market, but very loyal fan base of Fuji. And we just talked about those reasons: the design, the style, the colors, the flexibility of the camera, the way it's just easy to carry anywhere and all that. Those are the reasons why Fujis are loved. The fact is, Fujis are different, and Fuji is not all about performance. I'm quite certain that one of the reasons why people are able to enjoy the Fujis so much is their aggressive attempt to keep their bodies and lenses small. Aggressively to keep them small. Because the bodies are small, the dials and buttons and designs and all of that, everything can come together to create that comfortable, distinct, tactile, immersive Fuji experience. The size is the key contributor to that immersive Fuji experience. But now when Fuji aims to compete with the big three and make high resolution, faster bodies, my fear is that Fuji may struggle to keep those bodies small. We have already seen, if you observe, we have already seen how the XT bodies have grown bulkier. Just look at the XT1, then compare that with the XT2, then look at the XT3 and then the XT4. You'll see that all generation of the XT bodies have grown in weight. That extra weight is not just about the weight itself. The problem is that extra weight will mandate a design change the design, because suddenly if the camera is heavier, more difficult to hold, you will need that extra little bit of grip, right? And then suddenly you're comparing Fuji with Sony and Nikon because the weight and the body size and the grip is similar, but Nikon and Sony and Canon will still be ahead of Fuji, right? So now suddenly a Sony or a Nikon has better grips and they have full frame sensors, right? So with that larger grip and larger body, you want a one-handed operation now. You don't want to sort of hold the camera like this and then change the dials on top. You don't want a two-handed operation at all. You want a one-handed operation, which means you have to put all the dials and all the buttons on one side and ensure they're easy to do sort of maneuver with just a finger press, right? Not rotation, because when you hold the camera like this and you don't have a grip, it's difficult to rotate things. But when you use the left hand, it's easier, right? So this just the weight alone changes so much. And all of that will make Fuji compete on something that Fuji is not, I think, trying to compete on, which is ergonomics and design. They are trying to maintain the design and still be able to compete with the big brothers. They want to compete on speed and resolution, but not these other aspects, because the entire Fuji experience is suddenly in question now. And that's my fear, that incremental weight increase can become unmanageable and Fuji may just lose that Goldilocks design space that they're in right now. Right? So, yeah, the thing is, we don't want Fujis to become like Nikons. We want Fujis to stay like a Fuji, right? We want Fujis to remain distinct, just the way you want Nikon to remain like Nikon. We don't want these companies and these brands to lose their distinctive character and experience. This is the one thing that people are not talking about, though, when they're being so excited about the upcoming XH2. And the XH bodies are supposed to give you that full-bodied professional feel. But what about the XT bodies and XC bodies? Will they be affected? There's a high likelihood that those bodies will grow in size too, and that's my concern. We will see its effects on other features of the cameras as well. So what do you think? Do you resonate with what I'm talking about here? Let me know in the comments. And if you're feeling generous, do like and subscribe to help this channel grow. So what do you think? Do you resonate with what I'm talking about here? Let me know in the comments. And if you're feeling generous, do like and subscribe and help this channel grow. See you with another video very soon.